Good morning, and welcome to the Bipolar Sunrise. I'm Garrett Nichols.
I'm Ryan Sullivan.
Nate Dog.
All right.
Even has the cup to say it now.
Okay, it's official. Nate Dog, we're gonna have to get a cup with our names on it now. I want mine to say Thug Nasty like Mike Belt.
Thug nasty.
Oh, so I've over this last week have there's some books included with Spotify. And then they'll advertise them and let you know that these are available. And I get
Right.
like 12 hours a month or something of reading time. The Book of Enoch, and another book called Forbidden Knowledge. And so I've been going back and forth and listening to these two books. Just, I don't know, they're interesting, but I'm not super interested in either one. But I kind of want to hear both of them.
Right.
But I asked a guy at work, and he Googled it while I was looking to see if like Christians recognized the Book of Enoch as part of the Scripture, and Catholics. And there's the only, and Nate could probably testify to this. It's the Egyptian or the Ethiopian Bible recognizes the Book of Enoch, and then a couple of sects that are maybe not like in the United States recognize the Book of Enoch as like indoctrinated to the overall Holy Bible. You know, wow. So just the first couple of chapters, and it's like, okay, well, if they left this part out, and you believe in if you subscribe to the belief that there's a supernatural being that created us all, then the Book of Enoch, holy cow, it is very interesting so far. I think I'm like 8 chapters into the book, but it's like, however many chapters, because the Bible could be 2 sentences, is a half paragraph is a chapter. Did you have a fishing pole?
Yeah. Gave the old thumbs up.
Morning, John.
Yeah.
If you
Good
watch
to
this
see you,
thing.
buddy.
That was a big fishing pole.
Doing some river fishing.
He should really be in here since we talk about mental health. Because
He should.
I think his is on the decline. I don't know. There's a river both ways, but I mean, it would have been quicker for him to just walk that way instead of walking down here. I don't think he's going to the river.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Book of Enoch. Very, it was very interesting. They talk about I don't really know how to describe, because they talk about it differently, but essentially the angels or the watchers come down, have intercourse with humans, have giants, but then it's not really God saying, but it is, I guess. They're gonna the giants are gonna be wiped out. Anyway, here a while back, I can't remember. I think it was John who I was talking to about this, or it might have been one of you guys. Do you remember? Do you remember if I talked to you about this? Is like, essentially, this could be. Everybody's always predicted that there's going to be a judgment day in Christianity, that God's going to come back, mark of the beast. Everybody knows the story. But now there's some speculation that potentially we're in the 25,000 years that the devil's able to reign, because at some point in time, it's not going to be just the devil gets his time, and some people are believing now that we are in that time.
That time is now.
And it would make sense, like if you think about Judgment Day has already came, the devil's got his reign, and I don't know.
What, did you study the Book of Enoch when you went to school, or have any knowledge on it?
Well, I I did read it, and but as Garrett said, that a lot of it's left out of most Bibles and stuff like that, just because a long time ago, a bunch of people got together and decided that if it doesn't fit the doctrine, then they leave it out. Like the Maccabees are left out. Just a lot of obscure, that's what they call them, books were left out. And the book of Enoch was kind of referenced in one of Peter's, like first or second Peter.
I think it's kind of referenced in a lot of books, or maybe not referenced, but there's a lot of overlapping stories from the book of Enoch through, especially Genesis, in my opinion, because the seven-headed dragon, you know, coming down and burning
Is
everything.
this kind of like the Book of Mormon, where they have separate chapters
Well,
that
the
are
Book of
added?
Mormon, no, the Book
But you
of
know what I
Mormon
mean?
is
It-
completely different.
But I'm just asking, is
Only
the
one
book,
person could ever transcribe
Right.
those tablets.
I watched the South Park one that
Oh,
cracked me
yeah.
up. Dum 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 dum.
But I think they did a pretty good job of describing it.
But
to the T.
but you know,
Yeah.
there's different religions, like the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know,
Yeah.
they have different Bibles. Is this kind of along the same sense, or is this was actually supposed to be in the Bible, but they're like, we're gonna leave it out?
It
Sounds like exactly to me.
I think that they just left it out because
Okay,
It-
so it's
it
not
talked-
like a man-made added, like
Could be.
You know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, like where you're like, oh, the Book of Mormon, that's crazy. Is that why this was left out? Is people were like, what? Angels had the sex with people, and they had giants, and what in the world? Like, no, people's gonna think the Bible's crazy if we put this in there.
yeah, I think it's more along the lines of that because it's very heavily in the spiritual realm. Like it talks about angels, it talks about all of this stuff, and it it goes in depth on a lot of stuff that kind of sounds weird. And the part where it was referenced in Peter, it was talking about how Jesus went and ministered to the angels that were basically the watchers that did the bad stuff, and that were in prison because they disobeyed or they went too far in helping humanity grow. Because from what I understand, there was a whole bunch of angels, and each angel was given a rule over something, and they were supposed to come and help humanity become better, and instead they corrupted humanity by like basically, well, going too far. And so they were imprisoned, and that's where okay, so they made a
Isn't that
movie.
Judgment Day though, like they're
When-
in prison until the end of time, and then they'll burn. They said they're locked in the room. The doors are on fire. The exits are on fire. They're gonna be there until. They didn't say it. Didn't say Judgment Day. They'll be there until the end of time, which I'm thinking end of humanity. So it would be Judgment Day, and then they'll be destroyed. But they're in prison now, but when it's Judgment Day, everybody that was involved in I don't know, it sounds a lot like Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, it's similar, except they weren't all turned to salt. I don't know. So what were you gonna say, that it was a movie that they,
Yeah, they made a movie, Noah, and the guy from Gladiator was Noah, and they actually,
Russell Crowe.
yeah, Russell Crowe, and they actually had the Guardians in that movie, and everybody's like, where is this coming from? And it's
from the Book of Enoch?
yeah, because the Guardians helped keep Noah safe until
What's that movie
flood.
with Denzel Washington? What
The Book
book
of
is he?
Enoch.
Isn't it the Book of Enoch
But-
that he's
But
Big
he's
Book
not
of Eli.
the Book of Eli. Not Book of Enoch.
Book of Eli. Okay.
Yeah, he's just memorized the Bible in that movie, and he's gonna take it to some monks, modern day, not monks, and have them write it down.
Gotcha. Book of Eli. I couldn't.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
I've watched it so many times. I was sit down yesterday afternoon and I thought I'll watch some TV and it was on Netflix and I thought, well, but I just have recently watched it. But it's a good one to watch several times.
Mhm.
I watch movies over quite often. I'm not a I do watch new movies, but it doesn't bother me to sit down and watch a movie over.
Yep, I agree. Fight Club.
Yeah, that's a good one. So anyway, like the Book of Enoch, the Bible, any type of historical scripture, um, written knowledge passed down. That's what's molded our society for the main part. I mean, the Crusades in the United States, but reading this book and then the forbidden knowledge just really gives theories that have already been introduced by several different authors about the pyramids and ley lines going across Antarctica. There was a big push, I guess, by the Nazi regime to find Antarctica because they believe that is not only Antarctica, there's ley lines and entrances to an underground world that's under the ocean, essentially. And there very well could be, it's a really,
Right.
it's just so striking to me that we forget our history so easy and we have no clue. To me, I talk about this all the time because I'm so interested in the fact that there's something that we are missing. And when we find these just majestic hieroglyph, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, now I can't say it either.
Uh,
Hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphs and things like this, and they have such majesty to them, like the pyramids and Stonehenge, and it's just there's no answer to that, and the mainstream just insists that this happened at a time when we were still hunter gatherers, but they just had such a massive slave force, and everybody just got together and did this. Like, dude, like I know our humanity, we don't get together on nothing. Like, we just don't agree. The only way things get done here is because people pay other people to do it. I mean, I don't know, the way our society's been molded, I feel more and more like a lot of people have the knowledge of our past and the knowledge of our history, and there's a concerted effort of these people that have this knowledge to essentially fool and enslave the rest of the population, and I think they're doing a really good job of it and keeping us divided and keeping that information, well, leaving it right out in the open, but keeping us so dumbfounded that we think it's a conspiracy, and I really believe that this is, whether it's through that we're in a simulation, whether there's some sort of a supernatural force going on, I think that whatever it is, or this is it. This is a natural biological chain of events that happened, 30 billion years ago when a rock the size of a pin exploded and started expanding the universe, into infinity. And then single-celled organisms manifested into multi-cell organisms, which manifested into a combination of molecules and atoms coming together to form biological creatures such as ourselves that are now conscious and aware of our existence and questioning it, but not able to find any answers, presumably. And we're just all running around here with these half of our inherited biological, drive that we have for procreation and survival and fight or flight, with our conscious, civilized side battling one another often whenever there's a situation that arises, and then the nurture of everything of how we were brought up in society. It is that's sort of what I've been thinking about this week, is sort of a really philosophical thought about it doesn't really matter anything that we're doing right now, anything that happens in our life on the grand scheme of things. It's just really so unimportant, and we only have like a speck of time on this in this chaos. We're born in it and gone out of it in just a blink of an eye, and we worry and consume ourselves with hatred, just greed. Uh, it's just a really odd thing. We're so caught up in so many material things. We want to be having things that we can't take with us, and we're going to be gone soon. And we're concerned what other people think about how we're dressed or what my hair looks like, if I'm bald or if I'm not. Who, really, who cares about that? But I must. Why do I care about it? I don't know. That's what those two books have really got me thinking a little deeper on, because the subject matter, yeah, it's interesting and it's cool, but if you zoom out a little bit, it really makes no difference. And if you zoom out enough, it makes zero difference, because we just get smaller and smaller.
Right.
Our significance gets less and less as like, and we think we're somehow alone, and we're just the supreme, superior universe beings of the universe. We're the pinnacle of technology and civilization. Nobody's done it better than us, and we're the only ones. No UFOs have ever came through Earth, right? According to the United States government, the Russian government, the Chinese government, there aren't no UFOs. How can all these countries agree on something that there's not UFOs? Because China's not coming out and saying, yeah, we got UFOs, we found them. They're keeping it a secret. Either there's no UFOs, or every country is concerted effort to keep it from the population. Because why? We wouldn't be able to handle it, or what?
Well, and that's one of Tabby's main points when we had our discussions about all of this stuff. There's one thing that all of the nations of the world agree, and that's
You can't hang himself.
no, that we can't visit Antarctica. Like
Yeah,
all the nations of the world have signed an agreement that like all of them, that it is illegal to visit Antarctica.
It's too dangerous.
And that is dumbfounding, because we can't agree on anything else.
Nothing.
And so what's in Antarctica that
Nothing. Just barren snow and ice.
that's what they tell us.
There's
but,
no need to go check it
Yeah.
out. There's nothing,
Nothing to see here.
yeah, but it's like the fact that they're like, there's nothing to see here, makes everybody wonder, and it
Yeah.
fuels a lot of conspiracy theories, like the ice wall. I think there's something there that if we make it public, then the entire entire view of who we are as a planet just shatters. Like even if there's a pyramid there, and it means that the lie that they've told, well, the story that they told us of everything no longer makes sense. Well, why? How can there be a pyramid in a place that's desolate and
Uninhabitable.
uninhabitable? But there's a monolith, basically, like of human creation, or of some kind of creation, that like some person, I don't know, civilization that created a pyramid in a place that nobody can live.
And never presumably have been able to.
Yeah,
live.
according to the origin of our species.
Yeah, I mean, and there's other things too. What would admitting that there is not only another society living on the same earth as us, it is flat, it's bigger than we think, because presumably Antarctica is the end, right? Both directions you go, and there's this big void that it's just like, don't even waste your time there. Don't fly over it. Don't boat up to the shore of it. We do expeditions there, and we'll take you. You can go to Antarctica on these expeditions, but you can only go
Where they want us to go.
just a very short. You can't go too far in because it's just too dangerous. They don't want to send rescue crews. They can't. You're dead. There's a lake underneath it. That's for sure. I mean, there's. They know that there's a gigantic lake. That's like common knowledge. They drilled in. There's a giant lake, And then there's the conspiracy too, like what is there? There's trees and stuff underneath Antarctica. Well, we haven't explored what 75% of the Earth is ocean, and we haven't explored hardly any of that.
Boy.
So
Yeah.
how hard would it be to believe that there's something that has been able adapted to live under extreme pressure, which would be at the bottom of the ocean, and they've adapted and lived? I mean,
So you think they're protecting something?
well,
Like
I would
underwater
say
to this day, or they found something and they're protecting what they found?
if
Like
okay,
there's still
the,
living beings there, or it's
the majority of the
What's up, young boy?
population.
Oh, how are you guys doing?
good?
Really good.
Hi, I'm Big John.
If,
I'm going fishing, boys.
well, have a nice day.
Will do.
Try not to suck any dick on the way through the parking lot. A majority of the population, being it Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, Catholic, if you found an entire species living in another place on Earth, Antarctica, under the ocean, outer space, and there was never any mention of it in the Bible, that's gonna raise some questions. Why didn't
Yeah.
God mention there was a whole nother goddamn race from another planet?
Right.
That might have been pertinent information. As Christianity goes, the Old Testament's not really followed by mainstream Christianity. That's kind of like, we don't do that. We don't blood sacrifice. God now, Jesus.
Oh, the Old Testament.
Right, Jesus came and God sacrificed his only son so that we would not have to do blood sacrifice any longer. We would just repent, say, forgive us. Okay, you're forgiven. Good to go. Come in through the pearly gates.
Right.
Not in the Old Testament, that wasn't the way. But so with that, but you've got the Ten Commandments, you've got everything in there that we still. So they cherry pick, whatever. But now, if you have this is like the more where some people collect their morals, or they say, God says not to do it. I follow God's word. I'm not going to do this. Well, if all this time you were following God's word, but now there's a whole entire another planet that we didn't know about, where there's a whole nother species of three-eyed giants living underground. Well, there's going to be some questions raised up. Are they going to bring up some old document? Like then, if they're actually they find giants, then are they going to slide the Book of Eli back into the Bible? You know what I mean? Like
I see
how
what you're saying.
you're going to fuck society up if you find out there's aliens.
Well,
And they've been contacting all of our governments and working with them. There's in a planet like it's Men in Black situation. Every time you see one of those towers with the point, like down there on the 9th Street, it's an entrance into MIB, and there's aliens running shuttle buses and shit in and out of.
yeah, but even it can be just as simple as the reason why we aren't allowed to explore the ocean either is like if we find buildings, like if we find a pyramid in the ocean,
Right.
it's the exact same thing as Antarctica. It's like the story that we've been given doesn't allow for a pyramid to be in the ocean.
Right. We
Uh,
don't.
Well,
we
don't
have
they
anything.
claim that that's where a lot of the UFO landings and stuff happen, is in the ocean?
That's what it's
Or
looking like.
sightings and-
Plus, anytime that there's wartime, anytime there's any type of nuclear threat, they always see aliens. There's always anytime there's like war getting ready to start, UFOs start getting pictures. Plus the stories. There's a lot of. Have you seen the Y-Files? AJ Gentile does a podcast called the Y-Files.
The one with the talking fish.
He has a little guppy that he talks to during the episode. Yeah. Well, he did a show on the Grand Canyon, and there's parts of the Grand Canyon you cannot access. There's armed guards.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah. So
Really?
so he investigated. He calls like during his podcast, he called up to the whoever asked why, and then starts questioning. He's like, well, then you've probably heard that if Black Hawk helicopters show up when people start getting too close to the entrances. Guess there was a story back in the day. settler, some guy, a traveler, explorer, goes up to the flows as far as the Colorado River will take him, and then starts to go into the Grand Canyon. Notices something on the face wall. There's brush and stuff all in the way, but when he gets it cleared, there's steps, like hundreds of them going up to this entrance. Goes in there. There's majestic sized rooms with Egyptian hieroglyphs. There's all kinds of Buddhist. There's all kinds of different symbols and things that shouldn't be in the United States that coincide with, like, say, the hieroglyphs in the pyramid, temples in China, and why are these type of things being found? And I guess there's pottery, tools. They figured out. He said that they had used these copper tools and figured out how to harden copper to a point where they could cut stone. And this is all sandstone and stuff that they're doing, and it's not like it's granite. I don't know. You'd have to watch the whole episode because it's pretty wild. I didn't know that there was a place in the Grand Canyon they couldn't access, and as he goes into it, it's so inaccessible that if you get too close, they're taking you out of there with a hood over your head, essentially.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And I guess,
Wow.
That too. And I guess the Smithsonian had something to do with it. There's also a guy, the Boneyard, Alaska, that guy that he has like a 7-acre plot of land of permafrost, and he just sits there at the river with a boat that they use for gold mining and sprays high pressure water into the permafrost, and bones just fall out. They're millions of years old. They found a feather inside of a fossilized tusk, but he's got millions of bones, all in this like 7-acre plot, and he's built Quonset huts and sheds, and they're full of bones that he's gotten out of this. It was like a mass extinction event all at one time. But anyway, when he bought the property, there was a bunch of bones that the previous owner had sent out to the Smithsonian. The story goes, they threw them in the Manhattan Bay or Staten Island or the Manhattan River, whatever. What's the river in New York City? The Hudson?
Hudson, yeah.
Or wherever they tossed him in.
I think that's a Hudson.
Instead of giving the bones back, the Smithsonian tossed him in the river. So this guy, I can't remember his name, but he's the guy from Boneyard, Alaska, comes on Joe Rogan and says, "Yeah, they've got my bones. I bought the property. Those are my property. I bought the rights to them when I bought the property." Well, people that was on here in the Joe Rogan podcast got together, got sweatsuits, and went and start jumping in the Hudson Bay or wherever they're at. I don't know, in the Manhattan River or whatever. Sure enough, they find bones, husks and tusks that they had found off that property. Like, maybe they weren't off that property, but how did there happen to be these bones that he specifically was talking about that they found at the bottom of the river? So the Smithsonian, I guess, hides a lot of stuff. There's supposedly giant skulls that have been found, and the Smithsonian has covered it up. Now, could be a conspiracy theory, but I think there's too many accounts of stuff like this in the Smithsonian, because the Smithsonian is a government-ran museum. It's not like a public. And then you got the Vatican.
Funded by the
supposedly the Library of
stuff.
Alexandria burned down 7 times, but at what point did the Vatican clear the Library of Alexandria completely out? Took it to all the information of the Vatican, then torched it for the last time. Oh, we lost all of our information.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that they found underneath the Sphinx in those tunnels, all the artifacts that were in the pyramids, never found anything, but somehow the Vatican is involved. That is weird that, the Vatican's involved in so much. It's their own country in the middle of a whole nother city in another country. And they just have,
Their own police, their own everything.
Yeah, do you see that documentary, that girl that went missing in the Vatican, called The Vatican something? Some little girl that played like violin or some shit was going and getting tutored. All of a sudden she comes up missing, and it's like this big, her parents both worked at the Vatican, they lived at the Vatican. So people live in the Vatican, they work there, and they have housing, and it's incredible. And it was it was completely covered up by the Vatican. They pushed it under the rug, and it was involved. The members of the church were involved in this girl's disappearance, and I guess it's not the first time.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I can't remember the name of it, but you can Google it. Good.
You can do that.
Yeah, you could if you
You
feel.
can do that thing where you say words.
So, what do you guys think about? I mean, it is. So, this is why we are the way we are, is because of all these unknowns. That's shaped us more than anything else, I believe.
Well, I know it's one of those that I need to do more research on my own because I'm constantly sitting here blown away going, what? What? So I know I need to listen to podcasts and kind of get caught up to where, I mean, you guys have been obviously doing it for a long time, but to where I can at least have some knowledge on it because I'd never heard of the Grand Canyon having a spot where, nope, you're out. Like, this is mind blowing to me. And it's almost like a sense of excitement. Like, good, maybe there is more than what we know.
Well, there's some
You know?
cave. There's 34 caves, completely. It's called Balsamic Rock or whatever. Not Balsamic Rock. I'm not sure, but it's in India, and in the peninsula, they've completely from the top down carved an entire temple that's, I mean, the size of a couple 4 city square blocks, and they carved into this rock down and then carved in and made rooms and carved in big statues out of solid rock, and then they carved 34 caves into the side of this big peninsula, going all the way down, stretching for miles, and in every one of them there's just beautiful carvings and really intricate. They tried at some point one of the kings sent an army in to destroy it. Nobody knows who made it. They don't know when it was made, but it has the Buddha with all the arms. It's Hindu culture, like, but nobody really knows exactly when it was built and who. They think they know who built it. It was like one of the Hare Krishnas, like the first Hare Krishna. But throughout time, they believe other Krishnas tried to, continue this on, because you can see some of them that look like either it was another culture came in and tried to do it and it didn't work out as well, or it was their first try. And then, but one right next to it, one of the caves looks perfectly carved, and these rooms go for, like, you walk into this room and you can't even see the back wall, and then there's just columns because they carved it completely out of rock. But it's not like they just carved square columns. All the columns have like calligraphy and leaves carved into the columns. They've got the striations down the side. They're like magnificent. All of them. There's hundreds, thousands probably of these columns, and they're all carved like this. And nobody really knows
Even how they did it.
how
Just
the hell they
because-
did it.
Because we don't have the technology to do stuff like that right now.
Yeah.
And
Or
yeah,
the
it's like
manpower, or the time, or the want, or the need. Why the hell did they do it?
Yeah.
In Turkey, those caves that would house hundreds of thousands of people, they have places to go to the bathroom, water, light carved in through the, access to sunlight because of the carvings into the stone, the way it goes into these. There's gigantic cities underground all over the world. I mean, you knew about the Kansas City metropolitan. I didn't know about that
Right.
until like 2 weeks ago. Metropolis. Anyway, there's stuff like that all over the world that was happened way before us. Like we did the Metropolis. That's cool. That's a pretty, but it was just veins already. We didn't really have to do much, and it's not really hard rock. It's limestone, easily carved. Carve it, dump truck it out, but not building pyramids.
Yeah.
We're not even building the shittiest pyramid that we've ever found that looks like crap.
And that's the thing, is the way we like to duplicate ourselves. That's what blows my mind, is why we've never tried duplicating these pyramids.
It's because we can't.
Because
Yeah.
2,200,000 stones, ranging from 75 tons all the way down to 1 ton, and perfectly geometrically carved to fit in place with the other
Just can't do
2
it.
million stones. And if you fuck up the first stone, by the time you get to the top, you're like, oh,
You're
fuck, we're a
fucked.
quarter mile off.
Yeah.
Got to start all over. I mean, how you couldn't have multiple people working on it. Like you couldn't have people working on one side of the pyramid while you're working on the other, while these guys are working on the other. You'd have to have a diagram written out that was like the pyramid all in one, and then exploded out, and each rock have A1, A2, A3, and here's the dimensions, and it has to be cut precisely, and then you lay it right here. Because that they said they did it in like 24 years. You'd have to lay a stone like every 5 minutes for 24 years straight without stopping, 24 hours a day.
Well, they also say that it was encased in granite too.
On top of
On top
what we
of
see
doing
now.
that, yeah.
And a point that was made out of gold, and the pyramids aren't 3-sided, they're 6-sided. So that's even trickier. So the pyramids don't just go in 3 sides, they concave in. So it goes in and then to the sides, out. So it's not even, and yeah, why did they do that? To make it even harder on ourselves? Like we've got to go 3 degrees another angle inside as we go up at 35 degrees. And remember, the other ends are going to have a 72-degree angle to match the 34-degree angle on the, and you know, it's like, what? And they did it. And not only did they do it, there's chambers for no reason. Because if you were going to build that pyramid, wouldn't it make sense? You'd want to make it as easy as you want, not put these gigantic chambers in there and then have a bottom that goes, that you have to have water for some reason. What was the water going through there for? It's mind blowing to think,
Yeah.
and we just want to say, oh no, that was hunter gatherers and slave labor. Like what? No,
Lots of slave labor.
Well, and the sad,
generational slave labor. Because somebody's teaching these stonemasons that are precision stonemasons how to do it. They did it for 24 years straight. But that guy started when he was 18 and fucking worked until death, just carving stones for the pyramid for 25 years.
well, and the sad thing is look how long the pyramids have been around, and it's probably not in our lifetime that we're gonna find the truth.
They've always been around. If you really want to,
You know,
no, we don't know.
Yeah.
There's
Right,
no
you know
way
what
to tell.
I mean?
They
And
say
I
it was
think-
dynastic Egyptians.
I think that's what is fun about conspiracy theories, but that's also what sucks about conspiracy theories.
Never gonna know the
Is
truth.
you're never gonna know the truth. You know, we sit here and we think and we gather our own information and our own knowledge, and we can subject it to things that we've learned, but is it ever gonna be in our lifetime that we get to learn even one secret, you know?
We don't even know who killed Kennedy still. And all those files have been released. Now they're releasing the Epstein files. You would have thought when the Kennedy files got released that this is going to be, constantly in the news. We
You'd
found
have thought.
out. No, nobody said anything about it. There was like a little push for them to come out. Then they were released, unredacted. And like, no, it happened just the way they said. It was Lee Harvey Oswald, lone gunman, magic bullet, bounced all over the place, and never got deformed at all.
Magic bullet.
Well, and the other problem is we use our phones and research on search engines and stuff like that.
That are
And
probably completely biased and
Well,
just
yeah.
tell whatever.
we only have the information that they give us.
Yeah.
Which is
and-
mainstream typically.
Yeah, and so there's no way for us to ever search the truth because we still don't have it.
Well, plus I think after a while, your phone, it's listening
Our
to you
truth
anyway.
is what Google tells us the truth is.
Right.
Shit.
And if you say it, then it listens to what you have to say, and then it already knows the answer you want to hear. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
think it's the Nephilim. It's got to be the Nephilim. And then you're like, hey, what happens if the Nephilim breeds, or what happens when the angel breeds with the human? And it's like, it is believed by many that, so it tells you what you want to hear, and you're like, yeah, I knew it. And so
Yeah.
you're happy, and that's like, oh, they'll
Well,
keep
no.
coming back.
Nephilim remind me, what was Wesley talking about? Where it's old, the tree of life is on the other side of Antarctica, and
Oh yeah,
where, when he said Nephilim, it reminded me of the whole, like, Viking thing.
yeah. Yggdrasil, the tree of life
Yeah.
that has the 9 realms tied to it.
Well, that's the Lord of the Rings, right? Essentially, they believe the same in the Lord of the Rings. The elves get eternal life from the Tree of Life. And so if it lives, they live.
But he was saying that they had found, what was it, hieroglyphics or something
Yeah.
that was basically Viking in nature, indicating that the tree of life was on the other side of the ice wall.
I mean, I don't know anything. For sure, I can't argue with him or you.
And that's it.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can. I mean, I can believe what I want to
Right,
believe,
right,
but in
right.
reality, we have no clue what is reality. And really, a lot of times, it's what you make it. Your reality, like ignorance is bliss. If you don't know something and you're doing fine without it, but then you find it out and it, I mean, that's every day. You know, you're doing just fine and you get knocked off your stool sometimes just because somebody said something to you and it just completely derails your whole entire day.
Yeah.
The news that you get, you were doing just fine and everything was fine. And then you observe something and it completely changes everything about you. The way that you interact with other people, the way you treat other people when you do interact with them, how you feel about yourself. You might have thought that morning you looked in the mirror before you left and thought, all right, I look pretty good today. I feel good. And then on your way to work, your old lady calls and says the car broke down. And it broke down because I rear-ended somebody. Totally my fault. And I forgot to tell you that I went ahead and bought those tickets that we had said we weren't going to do, and now we don't have the money to do the repair.
Right.
And it's like, and now everything's different. Your day's complete. You don't look good. You look in the mirror, and all you see is failure. Like oh man, I should have been prepared for this better. Or whatever whatever way you react to it might have been like, well, screw everybody. Everybody's against me, or however you handle it. But that is now your life. I don't know. We sure have talked about nothing so far.
Yeah.
It's been fun though.
But if we go back to the Book of Enoch with the angels coming down and helping humanity, with technology, with stuff like that, that could explain the pyramids and stuff and all the, because
But it makes sense that giants lifted them big old rocks easily.
yeah, or they helped us with technology, like to cut perfect lines and stuff like that, and the only part that they screwed up is they decided to screw us.
And then when they did, God's like, you guys, damn it, I'd give you an inch and you take a mile. Like, all you were supposed to do was help them design this thing, and you ended up
Keep it in your
fucking
robe.
Yeah.
Keep it in your robe. Yeah.
They were wearing robes.
Yeah.
Made out of gold.
And even if you don't think of it as angels, it could have been aliens coming down and helping us. And I don't know. Well, I wouldn't come back if I was an alien. It'd
Well,
be like-
and there's a lot of stories that it just seems like they're all the same story. Even when you talk about the Anunnaki and then coming down and genetically modifying our genetics to where we went from a ape-like species to a human-type species, that now they thought we were just going to mine gold for them, mindlessly do it, but no. Then one of the Anunnaki essentially was like, felt sorry for us, and then was like, let's lengthen their telomeres so they live longer and let them be smart. And then they did, and it was like, oh, they're keeping the gold for themselves now, as they're building armies. Hold on a second. So when the Anunnaki come back, they cut the telomeres. We don't live nearly as long, which is the same story of the Tower of Babel and people getting too together and smart, and they're trying to climb up and get it to heaven. And God's like, no, destroys the Tower of Babel, and then puts every race of people to where they can't communicate all around the world. Like, seems weird, but there's so many stories. The Great Flood, every culture has some kind of a flood story. There was probably many floods or natural disasters, solar flares, meteor showers, comets, asteroids hitting the Earth and knocking it off our axis for a few million years. I don't know. But all those stories, I guess, through oral tradition, it's like the telephone game too. I tell you a number and then you tell Ryan a different number. Like, what? I just told you 3, and how did he get 5?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what happened in the communication? I don't know. It's all very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And like Ryan, also, I'm a lot like, well, I'm never gonna know too. Everybody's got these theories, and some people are willing to die on that hill, and I'm over here like, how are you so convinced? With just, like, what am I missing?
Well, that's what gets me, like a flat earther. I'm not making fun of them. I'm envious of the fact that they can take something which our brains were trained to say is so ludicrous, and that's their hill they're going to die on.
Yeah.
They're like, I'll take your ridicule, I'll take all of the being made fun of, I will take all of that, and I will sit here and try and teach you why I think the earth is flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of subjects, religion, people.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
There's nothing from me aside from faith.
We were talking, and I'm not knocking religion, people.
I'm not either.
But we were talking about the Mormons. They go door to door. We've had them knock on our door. They're the nicest guys ever.
Yeah.
But they are so indoctrinated
Mm-hmm.
in their belief that they are fine telling you the story of the Book of Mormon and not thinking twice about it. Like, they're looking at you like, how do you not believe this? Look at Jehovah's Witness. Look at any other religion, where they're perfectly fine just looking at you going, well, you see, he had these stones and it was these gold tablets, but he was the only one that was able to, and to them, that is the gospel truth.
Yeah.
Gospel truth, there's no wavering.
No.
And
in those tablets, he said he had to fuck
that.
at least 7 girls and marry them.
Right.
Like, yeah, he has to. Every man does.
I'm envious of that type of belief. I mean, like that, you know what I mean? So when we, our buddy Bradley believes there's Bigfoot, there's no wavering that there's a Bigfoot. B. Radley believes that there is Bigfoot.
There's a Bigfoot.
Yeah, hands down, there's Bigfoot. And so it is. It's one of these where I feel like, have I not done my research right? Like,
That's what I'm saying, because I don't believe in any of it, and I don't not believe in any of it either.
and
I
that's
have
where
no
I'm
idea.
at.
I don't know.
I'm like, maybe the earth is flat. Because I was giving Tabby hell. I was like, oh, you're a flat earther now? She's like, no, I just find it interesting. Their beliefs and how they can stand on it. And I sit here and think, okay, well, I think they're wrong. How do I know they're wrong? I've done no research. I've just blindly believed that the earth is round
Yeah.
for 48 years, and I was perfectly fine for the next 48 years, perfectly believing that the earth is round. But how do I know the earth is round? I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't.
I've argued with people about it,
I don't know.
and I have no idea. I've never got a tape measure out and, went and measured a mile and then did an elevation.
Right.
Because
See
I've
the
seen people
drop
do
of
it.
the earth and
Yeah. I haven't done that.
Right.
I haven't got on an airplane and flown and set up time-lapse cameras with the sun in Antarctica, but I've seen people that done it just to prove that it is either round or it's flat.
Right.
And honestly, like, at the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference in my life whether it's round or flat.
Well, and that's what he said too. It's like, if we find out the world's flat, it doesn't really change anything that how we live, because everything's going to operate the exact same way that it always has.
Because that's what our technology is designed off of. Everything we have built is designed off of a round Earth. So if you say now the Earth's flat, okay, but it doesn't matter. The airplane's instruments are not going to change because now the Earth's
Right.
flat.
Right.
They just
Right.
are going to stay the same because they're already been designed for a flat Earth. They just lied to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody
Because they've
in
been
existence-
landing hundreds of times a day just fine.
Perfectly. Same with, if they're sending rockets into space
Yep.
or whatever they're doing and they bring them back, Doesn't matter if we're shooting it off of a flat plate or a round ball. It's still gonna work. Cars are still gonna work. Even it don't matter. So whatever you think, it really makes. And just like if we find out that the pyramids were this was ancient power plants, we can't duplicate it. So we're not gonna have that technology because we don't know how.
We don't even know how to start it up again.
No, there's no fucking push buttons that say
Yeah.
start
Do
or
you think
emergency
that
stops.
they're afraid that because you know you've always got that guy in his shop that's like, my lawnmower runs off water now. You think they're afraid that because they can't figure it out, someone else might, and that's why we're not allowed to go to Antarctica to the pyramids and
Probably.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got all these guys with MIT doctorates and all of that, but the guy in his garage might go, oh well, hell, that's how pyramids work. Shit.
I've been doing this with my lawnmower for 20
I've
years.
been mowing my yard for free for 20 years, you dumbasses.
Or
I got a pyramid in my shop.
Or it's the first time he's seen a YouTube. He just never had YouTube, but his grandkid came over, and they're like, "We still have no idea how the pyramids work." And he's like, "What? You got a camera on that phone, boy? Come here." And he's got a pyramid out in his backyard, and that's how he's been powering his house for the last. It's just
Yeah.
a small one. He's like, "This works off of you gotta just use salt water and hydrogen. It's easy. I make the hydrogen by having my cows out back fart into it." I mean, it could be. What about that guy that built he built that gigantic stone, he built a door to a gigantic 10-ton door that you just push and it rolls open. He did it all himself. He made like Stonehenge type stones with these giant stones all off of levers and, well, I don't know. Because nobody knew when he built it and he did it in secret.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's a giant fucking yard full of all this stone that he made for his wife, apparently. Do you know what that's called?
I know what you're talking about, but I
I
don't.
remember
Look that
John
up and
talking
then-
about it.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Because he was thinking that some of it was lifted off of harmonics or some shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But nobody
Yeah, I
really
remember
knows.
John talking about that.
So this guy that's not an MIT guy, he just figured out leverage or how to and hum these stones into place.
Right.
And he cut them. Maybe there's a brief Wikipedia that Nate could break down for us on this guy, but you know, it just goes to show. Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube that has a lawnmower that he uses water vapor to run, and his lawnmower's been running for like the last 2 years or something,
Yeah.
and it burns cleaner, and
Yep.
yeah.
And then suddenly his YouTube channel's canceled and he disappears.
Yeah.
Well, it was Edward Leeds-Scallinen. I don't know. Leeds-Scallinen. You pronounce that last name.
Yikes. Leeds Scallman. Yeah, sounds good.
Constructed a coral castle in Florida.
Coral Castle.
He claimed that he discovered the secrets of the pyramids and harnessed magnetic currents to move massive stones with one simple handmade tool. Theory suggests he may have used harmonic levitation to the idea that specific sound frequencies can
Used
counteract
whales.
gravity to build the structure.
Used whale songs.
Did it in 28 years.
28 years.
By himself.
Jesus.
Moved 1,100 tons of oolite limestone to create the coral castle.
Damn.
By himself.
Yeah,
How many tons?
1,100.
The guy moves 1,100 tons over 28 years into these structures, cuts them, sets them up, and by himself. And it's pretty big.
Yeah.
All the stuff is huge. I mean, the stones are giant.
And he,
How come nobody asked him how he did it and then built some stuff with that technology?
well, it's because they don't want us to.
I was gonna say, I'm
Have
sure
that.
he's been silenced somehow. They're like, hey, how much money will it take you to
Well,
shut the hell up?
If you think, I mean, if you thought that we had a technology that we would no longer need diesel fuel for cranes, chop saws, concrete trucks, steel companies, because if you just went and and harvested granite. The pyramid's 400 foot
You
tall.
just have like a rock singer out there.
Yeah.
He's just like,
I
oh,
want a rock. All the stones bust into perfect squares and stack themselves. But wouldn't it? I mean,
It's out there
so
like Harry Potter moving.
Yeah.
well, I thought in my mind there's a whole bunch of people standing around and they reach the same frequency. It would take. I would think in my monkey
Like a
brain.
Gregorian chant.
Yeah, something like that. That they hit that same harmonic and whatever that was resonated with the metal that's inside of the stone because rock has a certain amount of different kind of deposits inside of it. It resonated with that, and that's where you get your magnetic frequency. And it's polar opposites, so one pushes or one pulls, and you find that balance that pushes, and it pushes the stone into place or rises it from the other metal that's already in the ground or the other stone. I don't know.
Crazy.
But somehow they reach this frequency, and if one person had a cold that day and the rock crashes down,
I'd shit my pants to
They're like,
watch some
"Stanley."
guys sing a rock into place.
yeah. But
That'd
I
be
mean, to be a
nuts.
fly on the wall, what if that's it? You
Wow.
asked, like the genie pops up and says, "You have 3 wishes," and you're like, "I want to see how the pyramids were built." It's just a bunch of dudes standing around butt naked, singing,
Singing, yeah.
And the
Bonfire
rocks are-
going.
carving themselves into place.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah, you'd see some nuts, probably a lot of them. I mean, it is really fascinating to me that we're a species with amnesia, a complete and total loss of understanding. And we see this stuff. The only way that we can base our theories is off our observations of what we can do with our own technology. So we're thinking, well, they must have had a generator out there to be so remote. Plus, when the pyramids were made, do you think it was just a big desert? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
They had to work that around. They had to drag them stones from a quarry 75 miles away through trees and lion attacks, or whatever. The large faced bear that was like 11 foot tall. I mean, they had to deal with all that too. Because you got to think about the time. If we're saying there was large faced bears roaming around till 1,000 years ago, well, then what did it ever talk about in the Bible? Like they're going to gather water, and all of a sudden a 20-foot saltwater croc pops out of the water and just
Decimates 'em.
devastates a whole ship. Like there's a whale. There was a story of a whale swallowing a ship, right?
Swallowing a dude.
Yeah.
Just one dude.
And there was a fish. Just a really big fish.
See, I mean, we know about the mammoth shark, or what do they call it? That shark that's
Megalodon.
megalodon, like 20 foot long, bigger than a great white by like a lot. Could eat a great white. I mean, the animals that must have been running around when Jesus was roaming the
That'd
earth.
to be terrifying.
Well, even Job talks about Leviathan, that's super giant sea creature, and a behemoth
Like
that
the Kraken is in some mythological tales. Yeah, I mean,
well, and the
there probably
behemoth had
were.
to tell the size of a cedar tree. So
And
It's
there
like a
may. I mean,
dinosaur.
yeah,
well, I don't think there was mention of things like that. Not specifically dinosaurs, but they may have called them something else at that time. Dragons, probably, or whatever.
I'd call him. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
I mean, imagine the size of things that, like, typically, but horses were really small, and then we've selectively bred them up to what they are today.
We selectively breed a lot of things.
Dogs, especially.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah. I don't know, a lot for you guys to think about out there,
So there's this actor, Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
He talks about science and harmonics, and how if you find the right harmonic frequency to a certain element, then you can do different things with it. And that goes back to that guy who built the coral castle. Like, I think, and that guy, I listened to a podcast with him, and he had a lot of crazy ideas, but a lot of them also made sense. And it's like science could change greatly if we just, I mean, we just listen to him, or he's crazy.
I've listened to him and Brett Weinstein go back and forth, and essentially Brett Weinstein's, because his theory about multiplication being completely wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it is, but goes back to, it doesn't matter if we find out the Earth is flat. Everything we know is based off of our current numeric system. So even if it's wrong, and you don't need 1 times 1 can't equal 1,
Yeah.
right? Because anywhere else, 1 plus 1 equals 2. But if you multiply 1 by itself, what is 1 times 1?
Yeah. One.
How is that? If you
Yeah.
multiply it, it doesn't add, but if you add or subtract, it does. A single numeric 1, the 1. So, like I said, he may be onto something with this, and we're doing it wrong, but everything that we know is based off of this system that we've rationalized. Like, none of really Einstein's theories we could prove, right? Like, they're still theories, but we base all of our calculations off of these theories and these equations because it works for what we need. Gravity is gravity. Terrence Howard seems to think that it's electrons floating through the air. That is how we get gravity. It's electricity that's holding us in place. There's no gravity. And he could be absolutely right, but everything that we know is based off of E equals mc squared. What goes up must come down. We know it. That's the equation that we use. It works for our calculations. Elon used these equations to land a rocket back into, he flew it out and then landed it. Didn't crash land it, landed it and caught it. And he still does it every day,
Yeah.
But it is, what was his invention, the tetrahedron? But it's essentially it's the flower of life too, right? Essentially, when you break it down geometrically, and he made a drone that you could fly from every direction, so it doesn't need this. I don't remember, but he's a very interesting cat, and he's very highly intelligent. I mean, he thinks of things that I never would have thought of, and questions things like you were saying, how people can. He sat there and argued with an academic, and didn't argue with him, but listened to him, and said, "Yeah, I understand, but I still think that you're wrong. Yeah, you went to school for it, but just like anything else, if I go to school for something, I'm only getting, unless I get a professor that's been tenured and gives me his own thesis and theory and hypothesis, then I'm still getting
Regurgitated information.
That's what we get right now, is just, and if everybody's accepted it for the most part, then that's what's accepted. So whether you go against it and can prove it wrong is another story. Maybe it's been proven wrong. Lots of theories have probably been proven wrong, but that's what not the global population agrees on, these parameters that we've set in place, right? The globe agrees there's no aliens.
Right.
Every country agrees that you can't go to Antarctica. Every country agrees, no, we've never seen aliens. That's a U.S. thing. They don't come over here. Australia's like, hey, mate, I know UFOs over here. Nothing to see, mate. Just keep moving. We're just eating shrimps on the barbie over here. And England, they're the same way. You're like, no, spot of tea, but no spot of alien. That's what it is. Africans are like, no alien. I mean, it's just what it is. Like, everybody agrees, no, we've never seen a UFO, except the citizens are like, yeah, we see them all the fucking time. Out here on Skinwalker Ranch, our whole family's missing. It's just me left. They butchered all the cows.
Right.
And we've got video of it.
Hopefully those are just aliens, because skinwalkers, that's crazy.
Maybe that's what aliens are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe it's the Thin Man, maybe it's Bigfoot. It all is alien to us. And just like you said, if you don't really subscribe to the idea of it being an alien, maybe it is an angel. Maybe it's a demon. And maybe we're all describing the same exact character, but we're using a different form of language to describe it. You see angels and demons, I see Bigfoots and mermaids. But they're the same mythological being, a supernatural being that we're just. And then that's even worse. We can't agree on it because we're using two different words, but we're describing the exact same thing. But you and I are enemies now because you call it a mermaid and I call it an angel. But it's the same. It does the same thing. It's the same setup. Everything's the same, but we use different words. Like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, you both don't, and you both do.
Well, I think John said it once that it could just be an interdimensional being that is expressing itself in a certain way, and because our brain doesn't understand it, can't comprehend it, can't use that information to actually describe it to us, everyone's going to see it different. Because my brain is like breaking and your brain's breaking, but your brain wants to understand it, and in its way, it's going to understand it as an angel or Bigfoot, and my brain's going to understand it as a mermaid or a demon or something like that. And it's like it's information that our brain can't process because it's extra dimensional, and then we can't collaborate because our personality, our people, I mean, what makes us people,
The nurture of your life.
is going to make it right to us, but it's going to be different for me and it's going to be different for you. And that,
Yeah, that's tough. Because then, it does make it very difficult to communicate, and especially if you were raised in, say, Ethiopia, for example, everything that you've ever been taught is probably culturally about the same as everybody else. Maybe you don't subscribe to it, but you've been raised that way. I don't necessarily subscribe to Christianity, but because I was raised in a Christian household, being told these oral tradition of God and Jesus and the Holy Trinity, that is still how I base my observations off of, because that's what I really have the most knowledge of. Whether it's true or not, that's how I understand life, is that we were created. And now, obviously, as I get older and I learn things and I question things myself, I still always go back to, well, I base my decisions and off of the criteria that I was raised around, which was the Holy Trinity. So why, when I don't necessarily subscribe to it, do I say, okay, I'm going to compare these two, and then if it matches up enough with what I've been taught, even though I may not know that that's true, it's the only thing I have to go off of is my observations and what I've learned throughout my life. So the way I even retain information, or the way I absorb information, is through a lens, essentially. I have to run it through this filter to make sure if it's bullshit or not. And the filter I have may be wrong.
yeah.
And so I'm making arguments and things off of what I believe through a lens of how I was raised and my observations and what's felt good and what's felt bad and what I know is good and what I know is bad, or because what is good and bad? It's how you collect your morals, I suppose.
Yeah.
Most people around here don't think twice about killing a deer, or know somebody that has and get some meat from them and eat it, or kill cows. But maybe a Hindu religion, they're never going to kill a cow. That's the only thing that they have to eat, and they'll die before that cow does. Okay, that's so the way that they absorb information, like on Bigfoot, especially if you found out Bigfoot only's diet is bovine.
Sacred cows, yeah.
They're like, oh, fuck Bigfoot. But we're like, so what? He eats cows. That's better than him eating us. And Hindus are like, no, we want to eat us, not our cows, because we'll go to Hindu heaven if we, get eaten by Bigfoot because we saved a cow from getting eaten or whatever, fill in the blank on that. And again, I'm not nothing against Hindus. That's your religion. I don't mind. I'm gonna still eat beef though. It's delicious.
It is delicious.
Wild stuff.
Yep.
Well, I mean, maybe someday that we can give answers instead of just asking questions on the show all the time. But I don't have any answers.
I think as soon as we have answers, we're gonna be shut down.
Oh yeah, good point. Well, we know nothing. We're not just saying that.
That's
We're
that
really
triangle.
dumbasses.
That's that triangle thing.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a triangle that
Yeah.
I don't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
We're
heard
gonna
of
lose
it.
sound if we talk about that.
What happened that one week where we talked about something and there was no.
It was
I
him.
did the sign of the triangle.
Oh, that is what it is. The aluminum. Oh, I better not
Yeah,
say
don't
it.
say it. But he did
Lost
it, and then there was no sound on that podcast.
I wonder how these guys like Rogan and stuff get away with it. Because they're.
I don't know.
Well, I think that probably.
He's too big to be silenced.
Well, I don't
It's
think
gonna
it's
make a
that. I
big
think
deal about it
I
if
think
he
the
is
government
silenced.
know that when people listen to us, they're like, well, these guys have no idea that they know exactly what they're talking about. And everything that we say that we're questioning, when we say it, other people wake up. We red pill people. We don't know.
Right.
We're a tool.
Yeah.
And the government knows that too. And that's why we get silenced whenever we bring up the true stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot to bear. It's our cross to bear, guys. We've got a big responsibility.
But if the three of us go missing, it's not going to be that big a deal. If
Right.
if Joe Rogan goes missing, it's also humongous.
Yeah, people are gonna question that one.
Yeah.
If I don't show up home, only my wife is gonna wonder. And it's gonna take her a couple days probably to
I was
report
gonna
it.
say, I'm gonna wonder for a little bit anyway.
She's gonna call you like 5 minutes after she thinks you need to be home.
Yeah, but who else is? Cause she'll call his mom and then they'll both call, but that's the last number you're gonna see on Ryan's phone.
And she'll be like, wait, didn't he take out life insurance?
Yep.
How long do I have to wait to declare him dead?
And the only one that's gonna care is my job. It's like, hey, you're supposed to be here at 6. Where are you?
Yeah, they're gonna keep calling, leaving voicemails. We wrote you up again today. You coming in?
They're
Look,
really putting us in a bind.
it's
man.
been 30
Yeah.
days and we are talking about termination. You need
Yeah.
to come in or else you
Or
will be
you're
fired.
gonna be fired.
Yeah, I could never get kidnapped. My job would come and find me. Like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Right. Yours would. Hell yeah, they would.
They would send a cop to
Yeah.
my house. It's like, yeah.
What were you here to do? A welfare check? Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just sick. Like, yeah, but work needs you.
Yeah.
How sick are you?
We're actually going to bring you in.
I brought
to
a
the
thermometer.
hospital.
You don't look sick. Hey, we had a guy at Tyson one time that called in. He had asked off for work because he was a professional disc golf player, and they had, they got a lot of disc tournaments here. He was doing a pro one, and he asked off for like a month in advance, or I don't know how long, but it was plenty of time, and they said, no, we're shorthanded. We need all the help. It's vacation. He wanted to take vacation or the day off, whatever it was. They didn't give it him off, so he just called in sick that day. And then somebody drove past the disc golf course and took a picture of him, and then they brought him into the office and said, hey, look, man, we know you weren't sick. You're fired. Like, you can't call in sick to a job. You can't just,
Damn. That's rough. Oof.
I mean, like, you guys, you paid more money to have a guy drive around on the clock taking pictures and doing an investigation instead of wasting all that time. You guys should have been figuring out how to get some more beef through the door.
All right.
Figure out an easier way for people to do their job. No, instead you're trying to figure out some hourly worker that makes no difference and get him fired. That's how much time you guys have on your hands? HR's not doing any kind of fucking HR and they're just out cruising, taking pictures. Fuck you, Tyson. All right, let's end it
I'd have
here.
gone after him for stalking.
Yeah.
And fuck Simmons too.